As we start our 1103 course, we're going to start with Chapter 1, and we want to do a brief review of Topic 1.1, which deals with tips for success in mathematics. Now, this could actually apply to any course and serves as background material. Remember, your textbook has all the stuff we'll be doing in this course, and it extends it quite well, and hopefully you have some time to read and study the text carefully. So we're going to take a look at some of the objectives, get ready for the course, understand some general tips for success, understanding how to use the text, and get help as soon as you need it, learn how to prepare and take exams, and develop good time management. Now, often schools would have a course, usually for 1 credit, in which they deal with this type of thing that a new student might run into in a college setting. So again, we'll spend some time on it. Now, I won't read everything for you, but give you some general comments. I could remember years back where someone said to me, you can't choose your parents when you get up in the morning, but you certainly can choose your attitude. So a positive attitude gives you that edge of desire and getting things done. So, let's look at some others. Now, in our program, we have part lecture and part lab experience. Keeping that in mind, when you get to a class, you often want to exchange names, phone numbers, or email address with at least one other person, and that way, if you miss something, you have a colleague to say, hey, this is what went on, this is what you should know. Of course, we use email a lot in our course, and I try to keep the students informed as well. You want to choose to attend all class periods. We do have a for absence policy, whether excused or unexcused. So keep that in mind. That's in the syllabus. And of course, do your homework. Now, you've all heard the expression, practice makes perfect. And of course, your homework will be what your test items are like. And of course, the nice thing about our lab program, where we use My Math Lab, when you enter an answer, if you're in a practice mode, it tells you whether you're right or wrong for each example. And then when you take a quiz me, or later a test, you turn in all your answers, and then you find out immediately which are right, which are wrong. And we'll be going over that in lab. In Math Lab, we keep a homework lab logbook, a sort of notebook in which we write out our practice examples and our quiz me's. So this is a good source that if you have an error, to get help when you come to lab from myself or the tutorial staff. And also on the bottom floor of the library at UNH, there is extra help there as well, tutors, not only for math there, but for English and other subjects. We'll mention that again as we go on. So know how to get help if you need it. And let me mention you have access to this material in your online textbook. All right, you want to organize your class material. We'll be doing that in your homework log and in a mini lecture notebook as well. Read your textbook before class. This helps you get an idea of what's going on, what questions you may have and want to ask. And, of course, don't be afraid to ask questions. And there is a program that you'll see is our Mastery program, which are your practice and quiz me's. These should be done by the assigned dates, because following this, there'll be a test. Now, in addition to the text online, of course, there are practice exercises, and there are also videos produced by the authors of our text to help. And again, I have my videos to help as well. Now, if you're looking at your textbook, at the end of each chapter, of course, there's a general review, and of course, examples. There's also a test that's there. And we in MathLab strongly suggest you take what is called the self-assessment test, which doesn't count toward your grade, but is like a practice test to see just what you need to study perhaps a little more, and those little things to make, when you actually take a test, your best effort and your best score. Again, in your textbook, there are cumulative reviews, there are study skill builders, and again, since we have a mini lecture booklet, this is sort of an outline of what's going on, and when we do have lecture, this is where you'll take your lecture notes and any background information that you should study. Getting help we mentioned. Let's raise it up. In our lab situation that alternates with a lecture class, there are tutors that can help you on any practice work and questions even from your quiz me's once you've done them, using your homework log to answer and give you a little hands-on, one-on-one instruction. And as we mentioned, in the bottom floor of the library, there's another tutorial service, a general tutorial service that is free, and many students have found that useful too. Particularly when we're closed, they may be open. Now, another thing is preparing for an exam. Once again, you have your homework, your practice, your quiz me's, you've earned your mastery points, and then you're using your homework log to look over what do I need, as well as your mini lecture booklet to review the topics. There are practice tests, as we said, the self-assessment, and that should make you pretty comfortable in taking an exam. Items that are useful when you take any test in any subject: read the directions on the test carefully. Sometimes you might think they ask for something when they might be saying, not that. And if you read it too quickly, you'll miss that. And make sure you are answering the question they're asking. One of the famous ones is when you solve something, you might find hours. But what they're looking for is distance. So you multiply the number of hours by the rate you travel, and that gives you the distance. But you need to read that carefully as the instructions on the particular question. You want to pace yourself. Don't stay on any one question too long. Continue to move ahead, and then if you find time, you can go back to the more challenging ones. And of course, we want you to write out carefully and neatly all your work needed to achieve an answer, because we check that and can give partial credit for the work. And once you finish, and if you have time, go back and check your work. This is an obvious thing. Now, one of our last topics here is something that students often think, well, there's lots of time. Well, managing your time. They even suggest you make a list of when you plan to study and get things done. Now, if you're doing well in all your subjects, then you may not need this. But if you find, you're getting behind, you might say, where or how or when can I get things done? You want to have a little social life too. So again, they make this listing. I'm not going to read every single one, but that's the general idea. Now at the end of each section, they do give you exercises. We do all our work online, but your textbook would have something like this. And let me review this with you. Where do you find the textbook material? Well, once you're in Math Lab, and it looks like this, a little bit on the left, you go to Chapter Contents, click on that, and then there are the chapters. Click on Chapter 1. In our course, we only do chapters 1 through 5, and we do skip a few topics, but not many. Click on Chapter 1, and what we've done is looked at Section 1.1. And we would click on that, and then there is a video presentation by the author right there. There is the multimedia e-text, which I just showed you, and then you can go to work on your study plan. But let's just check on the multi-text, and it's loading. And it looks like this. And there it is. And what I've done is I've closed this part here so we can see what we're doing a little bit more closely. Okay, that'll wrap up this one.